I played over 100 video games in 2025, and in this video, I'll be ranking my top 10. 2025 was a fantastic year for video games. From brand new, impactful indie titles to some solid AAA releases and even a new Nintendo console that will break your wallets. Like last year, I also ranked all the video games I played in a tier list, and you can watch that video right here. So if you don't see a game mentioned here that came out last year, go check out that video to see where it ranked if I played it, and why Silksong isn't in my top 10. And of course, you can find the tier lists themselves over on my X and Blue Sky accounts. But before we get into my top 10, let's quickly go over what I didn't play last year and what wasn't in my tier list for the games I played in 2025. Now, funny enough, as I did last year, I played all but 2 games that were nominated for Game of the Year at the Game Awards. The 2 I didn't play were Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Death Stranding 2. And the main reason I didn't play them is simply because I didn't play their predecessors. I plan to eventually, as both series do interest me in some aspects, but with everything else that came out this past year, I just didn't find the time to fit any of those in. Another year, another Silent Hill game that I passed on. While the location and ambience of Silent Hill F look horrifying and fit that aesthetic very well, as I said with the Silent Hill 2 remake, horror games are just not my speed. The last game I'll quickly bring up is Dispatch. While I have heard nothing but great things about the game and its story, I much prefer to play episodic games when everything for said game is out. And while the entire first season is out now and a second season is being rumored to be worked on, it came out episodically at a busy time for me in the year, so I passed on it. I will probably get around to it sometime in the next year or two, though. With all of that said and done, let's now dive into my top 10 games of 2025. Sonic Racing Crossworlds brings Sonic Racing back to its prime. With great controlling for the vehicles, just like the All-Star Racing games, along with the return of Extreme Gears from Sonic Riders, and one of the largest casts to date for a Sonic game, Crossworlds crosses its way into my number 10 slot. After the slump that was Team Sonic Racing, I wasn't sure we'd see another Sonic kart racer. But lo and behold, Crossworlds raced onto the scene and personally was my favorite kart racer between itself and Mario Kart World. From super cool maps to the Crossworld gimmick, the game did something that a lot of Sonic's prior racing games failed to do, making it feel fast enough to match Sonic's speed. The game continuing to receive support in the form of DLC characters is a great addition and helps keep the game feeling relevant, fresh, especially when most of the characters have been added as monthly characters and only a few of them are locked behind a paywall. Not that I'm complaining too much, because where else can we see SpongeBob SquarePants race in a Minecraft minecart against Hatsune Miku and Pac-Man? The only gripe I have with the game, which is why it's at the bottom of my list, is the ticket distribution system and the lack of tickets that are distributed, which forces a very long grind for the Platinum Trophy. While this was kind of circumvented with festivals, the festivals themselves needed to get buffed to see any real timely results, which they did, but I mindlessly grinded offline modes to get all the tickets I needed as I wasn't patient enough with the online festivals, and that burned me out. I haven't picked up the game since, but with Mega Man on the horizon, I might return to the game again this year and play a couple online matches. Donkey Kong Bonanza is an incredible 3D platformer that pushed the limits of its world building by letting us destroy everything. As a follow-up to Mario Odyssey, Donkey Kong Bonanza shines in its own light, from its tight controls, excellent platforming, and a small but unique cast of characters, Bonanza helps kick off the Nintendo Switch 2 era with a bang. The story follows DK, who has found himself working in the mines to find and eat some banana gems. During this, he finds himself getting caught in the middle of the Void Company schemes and meets a child version of Pauline, setting the game long before Odyssey and honestly just making a mess of the whole Donkey Kong and Mario timeline. While the story doesn't do anything super incredible until the end of the game and all the twists that follow it, it does follow a similar pattern to Mario Odyssey, and that's good enough for me. DK controls extremely well with his base moveset and the addition of the Bonanza powers just to add on to that. On top of the crazy forms DK acquires with the Bonanza powers, the music they mix for each one is incredibly catchy and just really, really good. Each track matches its environment perfectly, and the vocal tracks are just the cherry on top. The collectibles are plentiful and thankfully not too hard to go out and find, thanks to DK's sonar ability, the addition of hint maps, and just treasure chests you can find in the world. You can grab everything a world has to offer and not feel like you missed something. As for the collectible types, you have the main resource, Bonandium Gems, which gives you story progress and DK access to more skills through a skill tree, fossils, which expand Donkey Kong and Pauline's wardrobe, and Bonandium Chips, which act as a special form of currency like the purple coins in Mario Odyssey were. The Emerald Rush mode that was added as DLC was cool. While it does add a lot more playtime and variety to the endgame content, I struggle to enjoy it for its full potential. The DK Island level was a cool addition, but I would have preferred it to be just like a post-game edition reward and not paid DLC. The Emerald Rush mode should have been a free update like they did with Luigi's Balloon World in Mario Odyssey. Overall, the game is fun, but save your money if you don't think you're going to play more past the post-game. Sword of the Sea is my sleeper hit of 2025. The game is absolutely stunning visually with a beautiful original soundtrack to go along with the game. It controls extremely well, allowing full control and a variety of tricks to master and raise your score as you play through the game. The story is entirely visual. No voices, just the 2 to 3 characters, environment, and sound design that push the story forward, leading you into these vast, beautiful open zones that let you explore nearly every nook and cranny that they have to find. Secrets galore as well. Aside from 2 linear-ish areas where you ride the back of a dolphin, a shark, exploration plays a key role within the game. While you can get lost, that's kind of just part of the game itself. Finding the secrets is what makes all these giant squid games breathtaking. I even found a frog! The game is much shorter than everything else in this list, but offers a good amount of replayability thanks to its New Game Plus mode and its variety of achievements. Score-based challenges, speedruns, and also a no-hit challenge on the final boss. Everything is accessible or represented in one form or another through their achievements. Everything about this game is stunning, and if you get the chance, play this game. I think it's still free on PlayStation Plus as well. Kirby Air Riders does everything Kirby Air Ride did, but better. Simple controls, an expanded machine list, brand new characters, and the addition of super moves. I'm extremely biased towards Kirby Air Ride. It is one of the most played games I had on the GameCube. When me and my brother were growing up, we probably put in well over 300 hours Kirby Air Riders is an arcade racer with 4 main modes. Air Ride, your standard race mode, where you grab a character, grab a cart, and go out on the track to beat number 1. You have 18 courses to pick from in this mode. The first half are the brand new original tracks, and the other half are made up of the 9 courses from the first Air Ride, giving a nice HD touch-up. The second mode is Top Ride, which gives everyone a top-down view of the course. You pick one of 2 control styles, pick your character and machine, and head off on one of the 9 new courses made for this mode. This version of Top Ride tramples the OG Top Ride in every sense and is a much better game than what it was in original Air Ride. They expanded it so much by adding copy abilities, brand new items, and allowing any of the Air Ride machines and characters to be selected instead of custom machines that they had in the original for this mode. The new Road Trip mode is fun, but it's very much a one-and-done mode if you play it optimally. It acts as the game's story mode by letting you power up and collect Air Ride machines throughout various pathways, leading up to a final confrontation. You can do everything in this mode offers in about 2 to 3 full runs, just under 3-ish hours, and once it's done, you can move on from this mode. The last mode is the fan favorite City Trial. This steals the show once again, now with the brand new Skya map. City Trial is a mode where you have a set time to roam a city, find a machine to your liking, and build up its stats to perform well in one of the many stadium games that is played after. Stadiums are essentially mini-games ranging from drag races, boss fights, flying the farthest, defeating the most enemies, or eating all the food you can because, of course, Kirby loves his food. Each round is never the same as the city changes certain aspects of itself each time, and various events happen to either help or hinder your progress. While this game may not be for everyone, this is a game built for me. I love Air Riders so much, and I'm glad that Sakurai got to make this game. I loved Ghost of Tsushima back when it came out, and Ghost of Yotei hits everything that Tsushima did right and improved on everything else. I love how open the exploration and discovering plot points is in the game. I found myself exploring the map to find everything I could before moving on to the story beats, and each of Yotei's regions and subplots were done extremely well. Whether it was finding a lone samurai wanting to join the enemy faction and facing us, despite the difference in our power levels, or meeting a man with a pet bear who can't face humanity after tragic events haunt his past. The storytelling, fantastic. Atsu is a great protagonist, having lost everything as a child to grow into this bitter person fueled solely on revenge for the people who killed her family, the Yotei Six. She returns home after years of doing mercenary work in the mainland to strengthen herself for the challenges she would have to overcome. Atsu's growth was done very well, as you see her having some regret with some of her choices that she's made, knowing that there is no turning back after all she's done, that being the Onryo is less of a choice than she believes. She's not perfect, and that's what makes her great. She's blinded by revenge, and it's only after the supporting cast help her along and grow from this that she starts to realize that there's more than just killing the Yotei Six, especially with one of the many story twists that occur in the early areas. Combat's great. The hybrid of stealth and action work just like Ghost of Tsushima, but much more refined, and instead of the different sword styles to learn, it's a plethora of weapons at Atsu's disposal that you learn that let her conquer the battlefield in various different playstyles. My only big gripe with Yotei is its ending and final battle. A certain event happens that I don't want to spoil, but the event that happens, it doesn't feel needed. It doesn't add anything, and it was kind of pointless. If it had happened earlier, it probably would have been done better, and I would probably feel differently about it. I would probably be more okay with it if it had happened earlier. But it kind of just soured the ending and felt kind of insulting towards Atsu's whole growth to get to that point. Overall, the game is a great time, and I'm interested to see what they do with the Legends mode when it's added.
And that concludes our tour of this part of the museum. Tell your friends, bring your family. After all, you can't spell museum without you and me.
Two Point Museum is one of, if not the second best Tycoon Simulator game I have ever played, only losing to Zoo Tycoon 2. While the other two 2 Point games were good, neither of them hooked me as much as 2 Point Museum did. It follows a very similar format to Campus and Hospital, but the main gimmick of going on expeditions to find the exhibits is where I found myself hooked to the game. That specific loop of picking the right staff to go on an expedition to get better qualities of said exhibit was kind of addicting, and it becomes a much funnier time in the fantasy-inspired DLC where you essentially build a D&D party of your staff to go on quests instead. You still get artifacts, but it plays on the gimmick extremely well that I found myself lost in the gameplay for many hours. It's also done some really cool exhibit collaborations with Dredge, Vampire Survivors, and recently Revenge of the Savage Planet, all adding unique exhibits from each game to display in your museum, and I'm sure we'll see a few more before 2 Point announces its next game. The most recent DLC turns the game into a Zoo Tycoon style game with its Zooseum DLC. Now I will say that with how many hours I've played this, I told all my friends, man, they should make a 2 Point Zoo as their next game, and then we got this DLC instead. I'm not mad or disappointed, I just hope that they decide to expand on this and maybe make 2 Point Zoo a full game. Its two main modes are the story-based scenario mode, where your goal is to meet certain goals to raise your star levels, and sandbox mode, where you let your creativity shine or let the lack of goals let you play at your own pace. I wasn't expecting to go so hard on a Museum Tycoon game last year, but that's what I get when they say you can sell Sonic plushies in the gift shop if you pre-ordered the game.
Death to Kronos.
Death to Kronos.
It's back. Last year, I played Hades 2 while it was in early access, and I dropped a lot of hours into it, making it my number 3 game of 2024. Well, now that the full release has officially happened, I found myself doubling my playtime. The full game added its final parts to the Underworld and Olympus routes, which were both done extremely well, with an expanded amount of Bond dialogues to listen in on, more challenges to tackle, and not 1 but 4 allies to romance up and get some spicy moments with. I nearly did everything once again. However, despite all the great things about this game was on my list last year. So if you want to hear me talk about its clean and concise gameplay, excellent level and character design, and boss battles, please go check out my top 10 games of 2024 video. The game is down a spot from 2024, but Hades 2 is still a fantastic time-killing and addicting time that earns its spot on this list once again.
Should my grandnephew fail, then this gift shall lapse.
Blueprints is one of the most interesting roguelike games I've ever played. I went into this game not really knowing what to expect, and as I played the game, I began to feel this amazing yet familiar feeling that I hadn't felt since I played Tunic. And the reason I felt that is because of how vast its puzzles are and how the lore of the game makes you more curious as to what's going on in the world and the mansion. The overarching puzzles that Blueprints has are great. Some are extremely hard, while others I solved fairly well. And while I never got around to solving the final puzzles of the game, I still enjoyed everything else this game had to offer. I did eventually watch what the final puzzles all were, and oh my god, the amount of things you need to do and keep track of is mind-melding. This is why I took physical notes during my entire playthrough of this game. All of the unique rooms you can draft offer many outcomes to the potential run you could have. And honestly, just drafting rooms in general was the best part of the game, trying to make the perfect mansion to fill every square or achieve certain goals made it all the better. As I said earlier, the lore of the game that you find scattered within the mansion is so well written and so cryptic at times, and the fact it can be used to solve other puzzles had me reading every little thing I came across, no matter how insignificant it might have been. The only lows I have with the game are the challenge modes that you unlock post-game. They have you start fresh save files and need you to follow exact specific rules to the T so you can get 1 or 2 stupid little trophies. It's hard, really, really hard, but it does offer that challenge to players who are up to the task. The game is super mysterious, and there are probably some secrets that we haven't even found yet, despite this game being out for almost a year now.
Seek comrades willing to face destiny beside you. The time of the world's end draws near. When all the clock's lamps are lit, the truth shall be revealed. A story about the natural laws of the world is about to begin.
I love the Digimon franchise, and while I still need to watch a few of the series, I can say that I love the Digimon story games. Time Stranger excels with its story. It's a bit of a slow start, but once we reach Iliad, the digital world, everything started to hit the right notes that I was looking for. The story follows the player character, an agent for Adamus, a covert group that investigates anomalies that pop up, which are usually Digimon. However, while investigating the recent anomaly, we are sent back in time 8 years to prevent the end of the world. Thankfully, we have some help from the supporting cast of Aegiomon and Inori. The late game story is where it really gets going, as so much happens, from typical and predictable time travel shenanigans like breaking the space-time continuum and making many versions of oneself. It's how everything gets intertwined at the end that makes this game incredible. And for me personally, it tops the Cyber Sleuth stories just barely after Time Stranger's 60-hour journey. The Digimon variety is the largest it's been in a story game, but unlike Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, you only have 6 Digimon on your team compared to 11. While this isn't a major gripe I have now, having started the game immediately after Hacker's Memory did feel a bit odd at times. I do still wish that we maybe had 9 main party spaces to allow for more adaptability with the party building. The expanded type chart was a nice change. The Digifarm, however, was a bit of a journey. It grew on me eventually once I understood its purpose come mid-game, but I still much prefer how Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory handled their Digifarm. And even though I love its turn-based combat, as it is very simple, if you're a high enough level and have a type advantage, it does skip the combat and instantly award drops you get, which is nice. But I didn't get that experience until late game. You have to be very lucky and very specific early and mid game to even skip turn-based combat. The game isn't quite done yet though, as 4 more DLCs are set for the new year, expanding the Digimon roster by approximately 20 and creating more story. This was super close to being my game of the year, but there was just one RPG slightly better.
Even if we fail, we lay the trail for those who will come after. Right? We are Expedition 33.
To no one's surprise, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is my game of the year for 2025. From its incredible storytelling to unique turn-based gameplay, Expedition 33 hits all of the right notes. And I'm sure you've heard this 100 times in many other people's top 10 videos, but I'm gonna tell you it all again anyways. Let's start with the story. Act 1 rips your heart out. It makes you laugh a bit and then rips your heart out again. Act 2 works as this really great build-up for the third act, and then Act 3 concludes it all perfectly while ripping your heart out once again. In all seriousness though, this journey was an emotional roller coaster. From the homage at the start of the game to facing the Paintress and all the secrets the world holds at the end, I was hit by the emotional damage so many times.
Emotional damage!
It works so well. The writing is some of the best in video games. The cast all give incredible performances, whether it's Charlie Cox as Gustav, Jennifer English as Mael, or my personal favorite, Ben Starr as Verso. The world starts off very linear, but when the world opens up in the third act, the exploration fully kicks in and the world expands just enough to feel satisfied or just barely wanting more. The world is designed incredibly, with the various areas tackling different motifs, but the underlying post-calamity feeling is very apparent everywhere you go. Gameplay-wise, the turn-based combat is very solid, and the dodge parry system is a nice touch that not many RPGs do. The only examples that come to the top of my mind are the Mario and Luigi series, Paper Mario, and Sea of Stars. Seeing it in a more realistic art style and setting is a nice touch though, and refreshes turn-based gameplay by a lot, as it can be dry and boring at times, just selecting an attack, watching an animation, and repeating said process. Having something to do keeps the player alert and more engaged with the combat, and the dopamine rush when hitting that perfect parry is also a nice addition too. After the game swept at the Game Awards, they dropped the thank you update for the game. It was cool, but I had finished this game months ago and I was a bit rusty with it. It wasn't bad, but I would have preferred a much earlier release for that update. It was still cool though, getting to fight the new enemies and the bosses and just explore a brand new region heavy to the game's lore. This game was an incredible journey, and it's why it's my game of the year for 2025. And that's a wrap on the 2025 season. I don't even know how many games I'm going to play in 2026. Probably 100 again if I can manage it, but I'm looking forward to what the year has in store. I hope you enjoyed watching. Be sure to drop a like and leave a comment on what your game of the year for 2025 was. And if you want to see more, subscribe to the channel. You can follow me at Tony's Game Lounge on X, Blue Sky, and Instagram, and I stream over at twitch.tv/Tony's Game Lounge. And also be sure to follow the Tony's Game Lounge podcast on Spotify to stay up to date on the gaming news and various conversations in the gaming world with many streamers and gaming YouTubers alike. New episodes will be returning in March. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right back here in the Game Lounge.